Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to some Sega Genesis action. Today we're going to be playing Golden Axe 3. This is post-commentary, as per usual for, any Genesis games. This game came out in 1993, and it's honestly the greatest way you can go out in a series, in my opinion. I'm going to be real, this is my favorite one in the entire series, and it's just better than the other two games in every conceivable way, except some things. But I don't know, man. If you think this game's bad, I think you're just being a big fat baby man about it, and I don't want to hear it. This game's awesome. It's fucking awesome. It's Golden Axe 3. It improves on everything from the first two games in just about every single way. So, right off the bat, you have 4 characters to choose from in this game, and we're going to be playing as Sarah Byrne. Not Tiris Flair, Sarah Byrne. A distinct character. So right off the bat, you can see that these are all not the same characters from the original game. You can see there's Gilius Thunderhead. He's broken his little legs. He can't do nothing no more. So, essentially all these characters are trapped under the spell of a big bad guy called Damned Hellstrike. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Okay? And right off the bat, you can be like, oh, you're getting hit. No, don't feel bad. I needed to demonstrate a lot of these things, like the throwability of weapons, that small dash, a shinobi-style double jump with Sarah here. You have really good animation on the main characters as well. You have, your standard attack, and look at this. You can do double jumps, and you can also do spin slashes. It's fucking awesome. This is like the best control in the entire series. And you can also block in this game by holding back in the attack button. It's just awesome. It's fluid, it's smooth, it feels like butter to play. It's still got some stiff, but it ain't bad. This game is perfect. I mean, it's not a perfect game, but for a Golden Axe game, this is as good as it can reasonably get. And, every review at the time was saying, oh, I didn't like it because it's not got pretty graphics. It's like, well, that just sucks to be you. Everything's fine. The only thing that's not great is the backgrounds. Other than that, it's a solid game. And I guess the magic attacks leave a lot to be desired. But this game is really, really fun. And I think it's not as hard as the first two Golden Axe games. However, we're going to get the good ending, and that is what I think makes this game actually a lot of fun to play, is to try and actually get better to get the good ending. So, right up front, let's talk about that. Because you've seen me play Golden Axe 1 and 2, you kind of know what I'm doing, right? I'm just jumping around, punching the mans, all that stuff. But before we get into that, look at this shit. Alright, look at that running. I'm going to show you the most metal thing in a game ever. Look at that. That's a goddamn metal as fuck contraption. I think that was what's called a juggernaut in D&D, but I don't play that shit. So, Golden Axe 3 is unique in that getting the good ending doesn't just require being good at the game. Like that, right there. By the way, that doesn't kill you in this version, it just takes a hell of a lot of your health off. And, man, it's still a brutal game. Let's not make any mistake. This is still fucking Golden Axe, okay? This game's gonna kick your ass and make you know it by the end of it. But every enemy is worth a certain amount of points, and you need 500 points to get the best ending possible. So when you kill a standard enemy, like Spear Guy, Club Guy, who I'm gonna call Chubs, those guys, like the... I'm going to call them Helgas. They're called Vanities in this game. Those guys are all worth 1 point. And by the way, look at this. Food. Mid-level food. How can you say this game is bad? That is something the game needed forever. Anyways, we're coming up to our first boss fight. I might as well explain this too. So, that guy right there, that's called a Corvette. I think we all know that's not a vehicle. That's just a guy in a suit of armor. They're called a knight. So if you're playing as Sarah here, you can use your A and B button, your dodge attack plus forward, and you'll do that badass kick. That kick does a shitload of damage. You probably noticed me actually one-shotting the Chubs. It is absolutely a monster, but it has a very small hitbox. And right away, that too, branching paths. Why is this bad? Seriously. Why do people think this game's bad? It has every single thing and improved. And the night sections get different for certain parts of the game where you have like little puzzles to figure out, like whack-a-mole. Like, dude, there is so much stuff in this game. You can't bullshit me and say this game's bad. But this is the optimized path that I figured out how to play, and we're going to be going a specific way. Obviously, we're going to get the good ending. But like I was saying, Spear Guy, Chubs, Helgas, they're worth 1 point. Listen to that music, too. Listen to this. This game has a badass soundtrack. I can't even stress enough, why do people think this game's bad? This game is great. There's nothing wrong with it. Anyways, so the Knights and good old-fashioned Skelemans are worth 2 points. They're actually called something else, but I have written down on my notes, I called them Hagrids. They're giants, basically. And Satanic Goro, as I call him. Those guys are worth 3 points. And then you have the Corrupted bosses and Harvey Birdman. Those guys are worth 5 points. The final boss gives you 10 points. Now, oh, you can also wall jump, by the way. I haven't mentioned this yet. If you're playing as Sarah, you can actually do wall jumps. It's a lot like Shinobi, if you've ever played those games. I think that Pantherk, or whatever his name is, let me see, Kronos, my mistake, he can actually do the same sort of stuff too, but everyone's different. They all have different special attacks too. You know, Proud Cragger, his is like a grapple thing. Everyone's different. This game really does just feel like a little bit toned down version of Streets of Rage. It's fucking awesome. I can't believe people hate this game. Anyways, so all those enemies have different point values, right? We know that these guys right here, they're worth 2 points. If I kill them with magic, however, magic adds a 3 times multiplier, and that's going to make these guys, who are worth 2 points, 4 points, what is it, 2 times 3 is 6. You know how it works, right? So, if you are capable of figuring out basic math, you can always instantly boost your points. You're going to get more points from killing groups of enemies than bosses, and by the way, the bosses in this game, kind of piss weak if I'm honest. But if you kill an enemy like I'm doing right now, that is only a 1 times multiplier. If you knock them off the pit, and by the way, going down, I'll show you why in a minute. And you notice we've also rescued 2 women, as the game just shows it as. Those are actually prisoners, and every 5 prisoners, you get a 1-up. So this game also improves on the first 2 games. You getting my irritation here at this point? So not only that, you can get 2 1-ups per path, and you also get health increases as well. So you get 3 health upgrades the entire game, 2 on your pathways, and then 1 at the final part. So why the fuck do people think this game is bad? Serious. And look at this, mid-level health. What's wrong with this? What's wrong, huh? Yeah? You don't like fun? Is that your problem? Anyways, so pits, if you knock an enemy into, they're worth times 2 multiplier, and like I said, magic is 3, which is what I'm going to be doing here, I think. So, yeah, there are some pathways you can go down if you want to look them up. And by the way, the best jumping attack frame on these guys, and yeah, I softened them up so I can kill them instantly with magic for more points. So you kind of see what I'm doing. I'm not really using my magic for just the boss fights, which this first one is against the Ultimate Warrior. That's actually Proud Cragger. So whatever character you don't pick, they all end up being sub-bosses with their own moves that you can do. Why the fuck is this considered a bad game? I mean, yeah, I'm doing the same attack. I'm timing that very much frame perfect at this point. And yeah, enemies can block. Yeah. So most enemies can actually block your attacks, meaning you have to counter and follow up. And this leads to different situations and setups. How the fuck is this game bad? Seriously, I want to know. Anyways, so these boss fights, there's, I believe, 3 of them in the entire game. There's no mirror fight. You'll always have a different character instead of your own character. Once they get healed, that frees them, and that also gives you an extra 5 points. So this is where it gets difficult. If you die in a level one time, it divides your level score by half. Not your total score, just for that level. Every time you start a new level, it goes back to 0. Now, if you die again, it adds a +1 to the formula, so if you die 2 times, it's divided by 3, etc., etc. And listen to this music. This game has such awesome music. It's not anything as good as like Streets of Rage or anything like Phantasy Star, but it's really damn good, and it makes perfect use of the FM synth in this game's or system's like sound chip. Why is this bad? Anyways, so the Crystal Cave path. What you want to do, by the way, is you're gonna do this because you're gonna get an extra 1-up. You can also take that upper path when you first start the game, and you also get, I think, another 1-up there earlier. But anyways, so the obvious problem, let's put a perspective here, right? Let's say you died 2 times in a level. You have a level score of 250. That's ridiculous, but let's just assume that. If you die once, it's 125. Die again, that score is 41. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. So if you died another time, it would be 10 points, basically. It's very brutal. It's an easier game, but it also incentivizes perfect play. Like, see right here? So these Skelemans are worth 2 points each. Knocking them into the pit is a ×2 multiplier. So I'm trying my ass off to try and do that. And the best strategy for these guys, as Sarah, is to jump forward and just over their head, because if you hit towards the back of them, you'll always hit them. And right here, this is so fucking cool. So not only is that an actual like health upgrade, those instantly heal you, so they're actually worth picking up. And I was so fucking pissed at this. I really love this game. I have no idea why people think it's bad. Is it because it's easy? I mean, it wasn't actually released in America, by the way. This was only released in Japan. And it was over the Sega Online, which was a thing. I mean, you can look into it. I'm not an expert on this. But break those crystals, by the way. There's homies in there to get. We got 4 women. And then up there's the 5th woman. I love how the symbol they chose was just woman. It's really funny to me. But, yeah. So the game may be easy looking, and you're like probably thinking, oh wow, I can see why this wasn't released in America. It looks like it's bad. Yeah, sure. So you're probably thinking, oh, I'm hot shit. I can just jump in here and beat the shit out of this game. Hell no. This game gets bullshit hard about right towards the end like you'd expect. It's still Golden Axe, dude. Let's not make a mistake. So these knights, by the way, like I said, if you get really close and really fast, you can do your like kick like that. Other characters have different moves. I just haven't experimented with them. Excuse me. And this just deals a shitload of damage. So throwing your scimitar as well, that also helps with some situations, but it leaves you vulnerable for more frames after you do it. And I think there's another character. I think it's the oh, I don't remember which character. I want to say the Axe Battler guy, Cane Grinder, Hunk Default number 2. I think he has a projectile. Don't quote me on that, but I know there's another character that has a projectile. So, yeah, trust me, this game is all about memorization. It's a lot like the other Golden Axes. It's not a very long game, and this only took me about 2 days initially of playing it. Maybe about 2 sessions to get down and 2 days total to actually finish consistently. But it took me about a week of learning the right route, getting my perfect like strategies down, figuring every enemy pattern out. Like, this situation I'm in is really shitty right here, and I'm amazed I didn't die. But like, you can see the big problem with this game in terms of like the scoring system. You can die really, really early into a level because you haven't killed any enemies yet, and it's totally fine. But if you fuck up right at the end of the level, which I believe happens here in a really bullshit way, but I was so kind of happy by it. I'm like, that was actually kind of cool. It halves your score, and then it just keeps going further and further down. So even though it's slightly easier on the surface, the game 100% incentivizes you to play perfectly. And by the way, I play as pretty much good as I can in most parts. I mean, I've been playing this game for the past, like, 2 weeks. So I'm pretty much on the ball. But a lot like Golden Axe 1 and 2, it's going to prey on your patience. It's going to eventually get to a point where your brain starts zoning out and you make dumb mistakes. So what happens when, you know, you get to the end of the game, right? This is the main thing. All paths, you can't do every path in the game. You have to pick and choose, and then you're like, all right, good. That's where we're going. So you can look up online how many enemies are on each route, but this route should give you, even with mediocre play, a good grip of points. I think I have like 600 or something by the end of this, like regular like path, like before the final level. So I was pretty much sweet. That's the thing. This game starts to get bullshit. You start to immediately see what I'm talking about. This game's default is to pretty much just throw knights at you and those chubs. But like right here, this is... Oh, I love these guys. They're called Ego Sheep, I believe. I was just going the whole game calling them Satanic Goro. So these guys are fucking brutal. This took me a long time to figure out. I cannot begin to express how frustrating these guys are. And you're probably like, wow, this doesn't look so bad. So if you don't stop moving, they'll do their charge attack. You can think of them like the Minotaur dudes from the second game. And it's a lot like that. They have a very narrow like window where you can start like an attack frame on. But for Sarah here, you can actually just mainly do that kick. And I just say fuck it and use magic to try and soften them up. But what makes it so hard is you're probably like, why aren't you jump kicking them? They will do, this is why I call them Satanic Goro. They'll do that nasty like pirouette spin and it deals like a quarter of your health. It can kill me in a second right now at this point in the game, and I'm paranoid as hell. So yeah, essentially these guys are like a big pain in the ass. And by the way, I'm not intending to try and do the scimitar throw. It just happens because of how I'm moving most of the time. It's really easy to fuck up, like right there. Look at that shit. I was so pissed. Anyways, I think like what I really do like about this game is also the fact that it doesn't try to do anything weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's not trying to make the game quirky and strange and having like dumb mechanics. No, all it did was tighten it up. And it's like, that's all you need. It really is. But if you're asking, have I done the other paths? I have tried the other path, like the top route. It's significantly harder, but this path... Oh, listen to this music, by the way. It sounds so much like Aquatic Ruins, but it's awesome. It's fucking amazing. I love the music in this game. But yeah, it's... The top route is a little bit harder. There's no corrupted heroes, is what I believe they're called. So you fight pretty much just like double bosses, like a normal, you know, like Golden Axe kind of thing. So you do have that to contend with, but both pathways will always end up giving you at least 2 1-up chances and 2 hard increases before the final one. So you're not actually going to miss anything, it's just all personal preference. This path, like I said, I've done it like a dozen times. I've probably finished this game about 8 or so times on like this path alone. I do like the music track for the jungle over this one, I hate to admit. I love the jungle track, it's fucking awesome. So is the, I think it's called Ride the Whirlwind. That could be a dodgy translation, but... Oh, speaking of dodgy translations, if you... We're not gonna see it, which is a damn shame. But, like, since this game was only localized initially in Asia, there was not really a whole lot of proofreading, which is amazing because the translation's really good. there's only one spot that I found where the translation just completely shits the bed. Now, if you die, you'll have the map screen. It'll show you where you died. It'll say, "You dead here." How can you hate a game that has such a wonderful ending screen if you fuck up? That just makes it even better. But, no, this game is still... It's an absolute blast, because you can see what I'm doing right now. This is like shinobi wall jumps. That's fucking awesome. Like, I always say I'm a huge fan of the nimble or agile characters like Blaze in Streets of Rage, Scout in Team Fortress 2, or like... I don't know what the fast equivalency in Mortal Kombat would be. I guess Scorpion, but I'm a reptile man. But I'm always a big fan of these kind of really fast characters in beat-em-ups. They just feel really good to play. And that's the other thing, too. This game, it just feels good. Like, when you're good at it, if that makes any sense. Because, see what I'm doing right here with this knight? Watch. I jump forward after a little bit, probably, and I jump towards him. I know his exact attack frames, like, right there. If I fuck up once, he'll probably kill me in one hit, right? Oh, and it adds breakable objects in the background that contain more goodies. How is this bad? I'm sorry, I really don't get where the criticisms come from for this game. I'm not saying it's like a perfect game, but as a Golden Axe game, it's as good as it gets. It's so fucking solid. And I will say I don't think that the backgrounds are as good as the first two. If I'm being honest, my favorite aesthetic is the first game. It just has that really cool, classic, just dark fantasy style. Like, I love that. That's such a nostalgic and wonderful thing for me. But my favorite gameplay is this one. My favorite music, sorry, my favorite music is this one. My favorite, like, mechanics are this one. My favorite character is in this one. This is just... I don't know, man. 2 just has one thing I like over this game, and it's... well, brevity, I guess. This game is kind of longer than the first 2, but not by much. It's also substantially bullshit, in my opinion, at the end of the game. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, by the way, we're going down here. If we go down here, we have more food, and we also get more points, because there's more skeletons down here. And if you haven't, like, probably guessed it by now, so Bloody Street, which, by the way, is miraculously blood-free. It's actually quite a clean street, if you ask me. You will always fight the same sub-bosses. So in the beginning when we fought, you know, Ultimate Warrior, okay? If we took the top route, we'd still fight the Ultimate Warrior, okay? If we go the top route here, we still fight Hunk Default 2.0, okay? That's always going to be the same bosses at the end of each of the branching paths. This does change a tiny bit if you're doing the alternate routes that don't involve the corrupted heroes. Like, the jungle one, if you take the top route in the jungle level, you'll fight one Hagrid. If you fight, or the bottom route, you only fight one, top route's 2, I think. So, right here, by the way, I'm using magic because these guys are weak enough and I'm going to get way more points. So that's also something I kind of like about this game too. You don't have to just burn mana for the boss fights. You can use them to... It's like... If I was playing in co-op, there's also way more opportunities to get more mana. So that's great. You don't have one person just hoovering up mana only, like you have in the other 2 games. There's not nearly enough for 2 people. There actually, I think, is also more mana drops in hard mode. Because they fucking knew. But, like, oh, by the way, guys, look in the background. This game worships the devil. Fucking look at that shit. If this was 1993 and a congressman in America saw this, they'd probably think it was a satanic game. And here I am trying to... See, this is what I mean. Like, I would never do this. This is like... I would just never do that in Golden Axe, because I'm doing it because I want points. That's something I think is a little bit better. You have more utility in what you want to use your magic for, because the boss fights aren't ultimately that hard, to a certain point, I should say. So, by the way, Hunk Default, just do what I'm doing. So, I don't think you need to turn away from NPCs like that, but just do that. It's safer, I noticed. And then just attack on the right frames. Anyways, Like, the only thing I do miss from Golden Axe 2 is the option to use a set level of magic by holding it down. And that's because you actually get more, like I was saying, probably for co-op, magic pots than you did in the other games. So it would have been nice, like in the beginning, to use 2 magic and then save, like, those 2 barrels full of the other ones afterwards. And you see what I mean? Like, I wish that was in the game. If I'm being honest, that's the only thing I can really say that Golden Axe 2 implemented that I enjoy more than this game. And this is so funny to me. I love this line. So, I'm still alive. Don't worry. I'll destroy the enemies around here. Okay, then. You do that. But I still... I don't know. If I played this game first in the series, I think that this would be, like, what I would also consider the best. Because it's just got so much more stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, it can be like, oh, well, you don't actually fight with the Bizarrians, you know, the trademark Bizarrians, yeah, the trademark of the series. They're hot garbage in this game, and they're always hot garbage. The only time they're good is in the second one, and that's because they kill enemies super quickly. But I also love it, like, if you watch the Chubs, they'll actually crawl away in their idle animations, and the spear dudes are eating fucking meat. Like, this is what I mean. There's, like, more personality. Enemies have more animation frames. If you leave your character alone, they have specific idle frames. It's fucking awesome! Like, why do people hate this game? Oh, I can say, oh, the boat looks bad. At least it's got dithering. Who the fuck cares? But I also know that because this was a game in the 90s, it was a huge push back then to try and actually make games look better, especially on Genesis versus the Super Nintendo, because there was that big debate which is better. Like, I can see at the time this game came out, this being considered lackluster. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't even look like a Master System game. It looks fine. Like, it's not as impressive artistically, that's true. But the sprite detail, like, just look at everything. It's so detailed on the actual, like, enemies and the characters. I mean, yeah, magically effective, it's whatever. It's not very cool. I'm trying to use magic here, by the way, a lot because I do not want to die because I know where the food's at coming up. Spoiler alert, it doesn't last. But that's okay because it's the beginning of the level. And that's, let's be real, that's a big problem. That means that, oh, and yeah, if you thought, oh, this game doesn't do what it does in the, no. It throws 4 enemies at a time at you at most parts with different attack styles. You need to prioritize which one with what attack. This game still makes you have to learn how to do that. And it still beats the hell out of you in that exact reason, too. So, but that's what I mean. Like, I don't feel like there's any handicap here. Like, the control is fine. It's actually really fluid, and I have no issue with it. I mean, other than maybe sometimes you do the down smash sort of like thing with like the down and attack button. That's a bit useless sometimes. That's probably better for like PvP, but who the fuck cares about that? And sometimes it's a little finicky with your directional input, so... But then again, that's because it's trying to like determine what like plane you're on, I'm guessing, and what directions you're holding when it happens. It can be a bit tricky to get the moves to come out properly at times, but once you get the hang of it, it's not very hard. It's really fast. But if I had one big complaint, and fucking hell, I was so pissed right there. I thought I was really... Because you'll see exactly why I was pissed when I walk in the next room. Number one, that guy had like 1 hit left. Fucking hell. That is just hot bullshit. It really is. And then guess what's in this room? An apple and a fucking heart in that other barrel. So yeah, that was great. That was wonderful. But that's the thing, like, this game incentivizes you to play on the ball more than the other games did. The other games made you rely on exploiting enemies, and this one you can actually do freeform, like, combos like this a little bit better. Like, you have more experimentation you can play around with. You're not just doing jump kicks and down slashes the entire game like in the other ones. Because each enemy can be taken out with different attacks because they also have different, like, vulnerabilities during their like animations. So it really does lead to, and you have 4 characters to play around with. Like, if you don't like one, try a different one out. Like, that's what I mean. And I think you can play as Eve, who's Harvey Birdman, who is the final boss of this level. So you get him for versus. It's like, I'm sure you can use like a hex editor and actually play as Eve or anything. I'm sure you can do that. But like, that's my point. You get a lot of bang for your buck for a game like this. Like, it's bizarre to me. But anyways, I think this level is just brutal. And by the way, so once you start encountering the chubs in like the red shorts and everything, they can actually breathe fire on you, and I think I get lit on fire in this exact instance. I really played this part sloppy. I'm actually mad at myself for this, but it's fine. They can breathe fire on you like the Big Bens in Streets of Rage 2. You can argue that this game just feels like Diet Streets of Rage 2, and I mean, yeah, there it is. And that's the same sprites they use in like fucking Street Fighter 2. I love that. I swear, and they use that same sprite in Final Fight, I'm pretty sure, as well as most, if not all, the early Street Fighter 2 like iterations. I know, I'm weird, but anyways, this level also has a branching path, which it doesn't really indicate very well here. Once we kill this Helga, I know she's called a Vanity, by the way. We're gonna go in the door that she's facing right where I'm at right now, because this is also gonna give us our second 1-up. There's 4 prisoners in this top layer, so you get an extra 1 man. That's just bitchin'. And, I don't know, I've always taken this path. I actually have tried to take all the different paths I could for this route, and these are the ones I found that work the best. So, but what I really think this game does well is it locks you in. You feel more competent because the game is actually more fluid. It's not nearly as back and forth as the first 2 games, but I don't think that's a problem. You could argue that being like Streets of Rage 2 isn't original, but I'd argue, well, the game is still its own identity. The enemies are still thematic to the like first 2 games, and the backgrounds and stuff are medieval themed. You're not using, you know, Rasta Kaz. You're doing like, as this character, like scimitar acrobatics. It's like, I'd say it's different, but I will admit, Sarah's walking animation does look a hell of a lot like Blaze's walking animation from 2. So, yeah, I'm willing to concede there. You got me. But, like, this is the big thing. All we're trying to do is get 500 points. Now, you're probably also thinking, I've heard you talk about this ending shit, like, over and over. What does it actually mean? So, when you hit 500 total points, not in one level, so every level you get a calculated, like, tally, right? You get 100 points in one level, 200 points in another, that's 300 points, right? You're not going to get 200, but still. Once you kill the final first boss, the game will say, okay, is it at 500? If not, fuck off, right? I love this game. I knew there was food there. That's why I'm playing so cautiously. That's what I mean. Like, I have more strategy in this game based on, like, needs. I think that's much better in just game design. But so once you kill the final boss, he'll give you 10 points guaranteed, no matter what. I'm sure you can do the multiplier thing with magic and you'll get, like, 30 points, whatever. I've had it really close here. I think the worst I got was, like, I did a post on it. Yeah, it was like 8 points off from 500. I was so fucking mad. You'll get a different ending screen, which we will see in this. And by the way, this fight is awful. This is probably the hardest fight in the whole game up until like the last 2 bosses. So we fight Harvey Birdman here. His character name is Eve. He's, I think, the king of this whatever fiefdom thing. Now, you cannot afford to make mistakes on him. He will absolutely rip you apart. Like, most of his attacks do about a quarter of your health, and sometimes a little bit more with his grab. He can't be grappled. I also forgot to mention this. You can block every attack in the game, and except grapples. You can't block 2 attacks at a time. Now, if you are off by your frames by just a little bit, you will not be knocked down, depending on the attack, I'm pretty sure. But you will take a tiny bit of damage. I think it's like probably rounded down to half. So there is some leniency in that you can do the animation fast enough at certain times you don't take any damage. It's really just... Man, I don't know. I still have no idea why people think this is a bad game. You can say, oh, those fireballs don't look as good as the other game. Yeah, and it doesn't give me a headache to look at when I'm trying to record this at night. So, yeah. Anyways, I love this. Nice job. However, it won't be as easy next time. And he just fucks off. He's like, yeah, fucking look at me, I cross my arms. Ugh. Actually, it's a lot easier next time, by the way. Spoiler alert. So, this is what I mean. Look, this camping scene is like bullshit. I can't believe I did that in one try. You have to like maneuver them out of the way. There's also, like I said, one where you play like whack-a-mole, and they like go down little rappels. It's so fucking charming. This game is awesome. I'm sorry. I may be whacking it off pretty hard, but this is the last regular level in this path. The other path, I think, is just a gauntlet of enemies. I think it's called Ride the Whirlwind, I'm pretty sure is that level. It's pretty damn brutal, but it's really cool. So, this level in particular, it's got everything. Okay, this is arguably the toughest level and probably the toughest path. So we're gonna fight many instances of 2 knights at a time on top of numerous enemies, usually 3 to 4. And there's actually very few heals in this level, so playing on your game, and there's also, you know, a hero fight at the end. This is the hardest level in the game, and it really pushes your knowledge. And that's what I mean. I just, it's so fucking good. Like, nothing in this game when you fuck up feels like it's your fault. Or, sorry, anything but your fault. Like, you can't be like, oh, the controls are bad. Yeah, you can argue the worst mechanic for this character specifically is that projectile can sometimes come out if you're trying to maneuver enemies around. But that's a minor thing. And even then, it still usually hits the enemy anyways. But this is just... I don't know. This isn't the best game on the Genesis, not even by a long shot. You know, someone's gonna go, oh, what about Sonic 3? How about no? But like, I wouldn't say rush out and get a physical copy of this. I should mention we're playing this on the Sega Collection on Steam. And I had no issues with my controller either. I'm using my... So I've used different controllers, by the way. I've used PS2 to USB controller from like my old PS2. And I'm using a ZD for Windows controller. Works just fine with that. I'm not really the biggest fan on a lot of the emulator settings, but you get a really good amount of games, and pretty much everybody just uploads ROMs to the workshop anyways, so who's gonna whine, right? But this is what I mean. I struggle to honestly see why this is a bad game. You'll notice I'm not even trying to say, so you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. No, the simple strategy is don't get hit. Punch the mans. Like, play well. That's... The challenge is fair. I think that's much more, like, reasonable than the first 2 games. You cannot argue... Oh, by the way, that moment just there, you'll probably notice what I did. I actually did do a half block, so I did take slightly less damage. Instead of, like, you know, no damage. But that's what I mean. Like, playing on your game, that's the only way to beat the game. And this level proves that you need to know how to fight every single enemy type in numerous instances. Like, shit like this is awful. This is a terrible enemy composition. That's what I mean. Like, you may think this looks pretty easy. And it is, once you get a hang of it. But then you start going for that good ending, and you start to realize, I could play better, I can do better. And I think just the ability to finish it without any frustration, that's huge. Like, I think I almost called it Streets of Rage 2. I think Golden Axe 2 is a great game, but holy shit, it is, you need to play it like perfect. And not in the fun way. You need to do like weird exploits on the AI to get it to do certain things. You need to position yourself in very specific angles. It's what I mean. It's like, this is just more like, was I in the way? Did I dodge? Did I hit the mans? Can I use magic to make things easier? It's almost as basic as it gets. And I like this sound here coming up. That sounds like the sound of one of the aliens being shot in Space Invaders with added reverb. Yeah, I know. I know. But anyways, this level is just awesome. I don't think that the background's awesome. I'm talking about mechanically how it makes you actually play. If I'm being real, the only thing that this like background and shit would need is like some blood, some skeletons, like some spooky imagery or some like more dilapidation. And that's it. This game looks fine as is. Like I said, I'm more focused on the enemies because that's what you're looking at the whole game. You're not really looking at the floor like, oh, that's a very nice texture actually, as you're getting your shit pushed in. So this is a little bit more of a classic Golden Axe 1 or 2 kind of encounter. Here we have 3 Helgas. Now, if you've been paying attention, and yeah, like right there, I would never do that shit in Golden Axe 1 or 2. I am so confident in how this game controls that I'm willing to do risky shit. So, we're trying to get them in the pits. Not because it instantly kills them, but because of points. That one just says fuck it. So, having played the game enough to know that if I do a jump kick, I will actually trigger them to jump over, like that. So, doing things like that, it just feels much more rewarding. Now, the trick to this, by the way, is just stand up here, and that guy just says fuck it every time, too. I swear, I've never had that guy ever hit me at all. So, it's a little trickier to get this guy to go down the hole, so it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. I actually find it really hard to reposition enemies. But that's also what I mean, like, enemies don't just wander into shit like they did in the first 2 games. The AI is a little bit more cleaned up. It's still really aggressive. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's easier, oh, fucking look at this shit. Like, it still tries to get you in really awful positions, and it's quite good at it. But, like, situations like this is what I'm talking about. You're like, oh, this is gonna be bad. Like, you walk in this room and you just know what's coming. You're like, okay, this is gonna be just horrendous. And like, what makes this difficult? The fact that it's like a third of the screen is gone. You have to maneuver these guys correctly and not get hit. And the first time you do this, you don't know if this is the end of the level. Like, obviously you haven't heard the boss music, but you might not know. Like, maybe it's a different thing. So, like, this is what I mean. This kind of encounter design is really good. I'm not saying there needs to be a 4th Golden Axe. I really don't really care. But as a game and just playing it for funsies, this is awesome. So, right there, by the way, that Satanic Goro, like I said, 3 points, 3 times 3, 9 points for one of those kills. That's perfect. Same with these guys. Skelemans are worth 2 points. Jumps off himself, that's 4 points in the bag. But check this shit out. Yeah, you knew I'd do it. I'm just that good. So, but that's my point. A lot of this feels really good. I mean, yeah, this background's kind of lazy. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic of the game. It feels a little bit Greco-Roman, which this game is not. But, like, it's still, you know, 1993, that's a little late in the Genesis's lifespan, I get it. Altered Beast looks better than this game in some aspects, and that was a pack-in for the game, or the Genesis at one point. But, shit. This is my point. Like, every time you get good at this game, it feels good, and that's why I like it. It is, I wouldn't say a perfect beat-em-up, but pretty damn close. There's only a few things I wish you could do. I wish you had, a downwards jump. And by the way, it's fucking Panther K. It's Panther, guys. Roar. Roar. Yeah. Show Shao Kahn. Anyways, this guy is actually quite tough. He has a really fast, like, that attack he was about to do is so fast if you make any mistakes. You can argue, why aren't you doing the running jump? Because it will add more frames, he'll get an attack off. It seems cheesy, but it's like, fuck it. I'm not playing messy. Like, and if you're probably thinking, holy shit, you haven't used a continue yet. No, I still have 4 more fucking continues in the bag, dude. Because I've been playing this game for so, like, long and so consistently, like, accurate, that it feels fair. There's not a point in this game where it feels, up to this point, I should say, that feels like, well, shit, this is just awful. But anyways, no matter what you do here, you'll always end up at this level. It's called the, I think, the Gate of Fate? Yes, that's so smart. And you can see I've already exceeded the point requirement, so I'm fine. Look at this. So you finally got here. However, you won't be able to go on. Whatever you say, Harvey Birdman. So, Eve is actually quite tough, as you can immediately see. He fist bumps you, and that is a deceptively long hitbox. You can attack him in certain frames of that, but it's a little tough. He's not as dumb as the other NPCs, and his grapple just repositions you 90% of the time, and he does that. You see what he's doing right there with that, like, angled attack? That is the only thing that I really wish you could do in this game, if I'm being honest, okay? If that was in every character's tool set, or even just the nimble characters, this would be perfect. I would have no complaints. Maybe different boss patterns. I get it. They're not great. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Golden Axe 1 and 2 had perfect boss fights. Let's not forget how Golden Axe 1 ends, okay? Which we'll talk about in a little bit. So, Harvey Birdman, it's fine to take a whiff here. You're not going to lose any points because you haven't done anything. So, and if you die, by the way, you do get 1 free mana pot if you haven't used any more, or sorry, you have only like 0 when you die. So it is a little bit of a free damage bonus. It's a little bit merciful in that sense. So, yay, we killed Eve. I have no idea what happens here, by the way. What have I been doing? The princess, I have a favor to ask, is still in the castle and he gets zapped. I don't know what's going on there. I'm assuming he's getting zapped because he was a good guy again, and I don't... Who gives a shit? So, this is the final level in the game. And, like every other Golden Axe game before it, it's gonna throw every enemy at you in the hardest forms to test your fucking patience and your skill. I really like the music in this level, too. I like all the music in this game. I like the whole series music in general, but this one really is my favorite soundtrack. Not this track specifically, but you see what I mean? If I played this in '93, I'd be like, this game kicks ass. I wouldn't have anything to whine about. So, anyways, what you can do here, and I think I fuck up here. I'm pretty sure this is where I die again. We have to fight 3 of these damn knights at once. Now, you can be ballsy and try to do that kick if you're playing as Sarah, or whatever the other character's best follow-ups are. That's fair. There's 2 health pickups coming up after this fight, and you're probably like, wow, that makes it really easy. You'll see why we need them very quickly. But I love this. You see what I mean? I'm not thinking about anything else but this. I'm like looking at every animation and reacting to whether or not there was a block, how close I am, how close the other enemies are. This is like a video game moment encapsulated exactly in like visual form. You're not doing anything but just doing this. You're just pushing buttons and reacting. That is like the 100% like brain feel good moment, right? So, and I also like the background in this level. It's actually probably the most detailed in the entire game. And for obvious reasons, it's the final level. It's something you gotta remember, and yup, Seth whiffed it right towards the end, and yeah, I was a little disappointed there too, but it's all good. So, I mean, I've played better than this before. I don't know how I got worse score before, but, you know. So this thief drops meat, this one drops a heart. And now we haven't seen these guys yet because we didn't go through the jungle. These guys, I don't know what they're actually called. I think they're called stallions or something. I don't like saying that because it makes me feel like that's just derogatory. So we're calling them Hagrids instead. So you might be thinking, what are you doing? What is this, Golden Axe 1? Yes. Remember the Hammer Brothers in those games? The like, whatever they were called? The Bad Bros? They're the same kind of enemy, but harder. So they're very proximity and reaction based. This is probably the hardest enemy for me personally. They can't block, but they have such tremendous damage output. Like, I hate this. This took me forever to figure out. But you know what's funny? Jump kicking was what started me into this game, and jump kicking is what's gonna save my ass at the end. So, have you come 3 games deep into a series to forget what's humbling about this kind of experience? Yeah, you better not be. You better actually know what you're doing. Don't feel like it's cheating. That's the best way to put it. So, for me personally, these are the hardest enemies in the entire game. And it's simply because they can get in really nasty spots. I prefer doing a jump kick, but, you know, it's so risky. This is where I fuck up the most. And that's... You see, it doesn't look that hard. And it's like I said in Golden Axe 2 with the blue Fursona fight, the double one. It's not hard. It's the fact that the animations, like, attack frames are so strict. Like, sometimes it hits, sometimes it hits you. It's just... I don't know. There's a lot of, like, issue with it, and it's really hard to get a rhythm going in this area. In the first, like, Golden Axe, you could do shit like that, and you had no problem. But, anyways, this is Golden Bros. Golden Bros is what it is. So yeah, these guys... I love this, because you're thinking, man, if you played any of the levels, you're like, alright, I know what's coming up. I'm gonna fight every single damn thing. Because we've already started fighting spear guys and chubs, then we're fighting knights and skellies, and then we're gonna fight Hagrids. You know what's next? Satanic Goros. Okay. I was thinking of calling them Satanic Shokons, but the average person has no idea what the word Shokon is. If you say Goro, they're probably going to get it a lot quicker. So I figured we'll call it that. And plenty of magic in this level as well, which is why I wish that you could, like, select the magic level. But yeah, I haven't mentioned this yet, but the reason I'm only doing jumping slashes on skeletons is because they deal a tremendous amount of damage. I don't know how much of it I've actually shown on camera, but they're probably one of the most devastating enemies in the whole game. You kind of have to treat them a lot like the lizard dudes from the second game, with a combination of the skeletons from the first game. And they also have a really cool, like, mid-ranged attack, too, where they stretch their necks out. They're just really... It's a clever gimmick. I like it. And I think they're supposed to be lizard man skellies anyways. But anyways, here's the 2 Satanic Goros. God damn. This is where my hands start to sweat. Okay, knees weak, arms get spaghetti. This is all about, like, perfect timing. And that's why I'm saying, if you think this game's easy, you can die over and over. That's fine. But to play well at it and not fuck up at all, it's super satisfying. And when you get a hang of it, it just feels awesome. I love these enemies too. I love the enemy design this series, but I think these guys might be my favorite just because of the creativity alone. I'm honestly a fan of Minotaur enemies in games. You can thank God of War for that. The first God of War Minotaurs are like the coolest fucking thing ever in that game. These guys were badass. I think the Hades ones looked really cool too. But yeah, my point is, this is how you handle a better version of the castle levels from the other two games. Because in one, it was all about exploiting the enemies to fall off cliffs and doing certain shit, right? You needed to know positioning, yeah. But you also needed to get enemies in, like, really specific ways to not even move and, like, attack you. Especially in 2, towards the end of the castle section there. This one just feels like more of a pure, like, skill thing, right? I love this part coming up, by the way. Yeah. That shit was dumb. Let's not beat around the bush. That was some dumb shit. I'm still mad about it. Anyways, this is our final fight with the Helgas. Now, something I mentioned earlier is I like how the AI isn't just that stupid. It's actually trying to gain ground on me to do jump attacks. That's also why I follow up with these enemies in the way I do. And I don't always do the running jump, because sometimes that's actually risky. But they will try to get on top of those to do attacks from a distance on you. And that's what I mean. The AI it's still bad. Let's not make a mistake about it. But I just love it. It's such a good game. Now coming up, this shit. This is going to make your hands sweat if you're not careful. But my hands don't sweat because I'm a man. So the knees get weak. We've been over this earlier. So there's 3 of these guys, and by the way, they have max aggression, and their shortened window for their slash is so damn unforgiving. It's up to you whether you want to do it like faster and a little bit more unsafe, or if you want to do it, you know, a little bit more strategic but slower. And that's what I mean. If this was Golden Axe 1 or 2, I'd be doing just one strategy because that's the only strategy that works. In situations like this, I've actually got options. And I like how enemies can also do something similar to your block mechanic. You saw it there. They actually like can kind of half dodge and they still don't like take a stun. I like that. I like that it's... I mean, I don't in some ways, but I like that enemies can also... The same shit you can do to them, they can do to you. I kind of like that in games. Because it's extremely annoying and it makes you mad. But it adds a little bit more randomness to the fights rather than just doing the same thing over and over. And this is our last food and last mana in the game. I wish they gave you like one more piece of meat there, but that would probably be asking for way too much, right? So maybe the last mana and health, but not the last guys. We still have to fight Humble Spearman and Chubbs. Because damn it, have you come this far to not remember who you started fighting with? And I also like this because it is kind of a throwback to the first game. These guys are like ghostly or something. I love that. I also like the desert level because the enemies have darker skin and it looks really cool. Like the red just pops in this game's color palette for some reason, so it looks really good. Like, I mean, yeah, different enemy varieties, whatever, but this is Golden Axe. You don't care. But 2 Chubbs, that's what stands between us and damned Hellstrike. Look at that thing in the background, by the way. It's the fucking Numidium. It's awesome. That's what it is. It's fucking metal. And there he is, big boy damned Hellstrike. He looks like a combination of Electro and like Shao Kahn. I don't know, or Magneto, my mistake. I don't watch shitty superhero things. I don't know my fake characters. Yeah, Shao Kahn's not real too. I'm not stupid. So, do you remember way back in Golden Axe 1 how we had to take care of Death Adder and Deathstrike? Or sorry, whatever his name was, Darth Deathman? Deathbringer, my mistake. Same strategy applies here. This is not a close-range battle. This is a battle of attrition from a distance. You want to use the humble jump kick. That is seriously still, at the end of the series, the most safe, effective way of killing the final boss. And if you don't get the good ending, the game ends after you kill this guy. So, and there's only 4... knights, by the way. There's not like infinite. They're not like I don't know their health value exactly, but they're not like the first game with the fucking immortal skeletons, basically. I know they're not immortal, but they have like 3 times the health as the final boss. I think it's 255 because it's 255 because it's 1 point over the overflow, or before the overflow. But you can see what I'm talking about. For playing as Sarah here, the best attack is gonna be your jump kick and your jump slash. And when he does his axe swings. On the end of that animation, honestly, you can hit him in those axe swings during, like, probably the first couple frames once you hear the sound. It's hard to really explain it. You just have to watch what I'm doing. But, it's probably better to jump slash, like, on him there. But the problem is he can do 2 of those magic attacks and then follow up with that jumping attack, and that shit is so much damage. That's his most damaging attack. I think it does almost half of your damn health, and his grapple is pretty bad too. You can't grapple him. That's all there is to it. You can do basic smacks on him, I think, and maybe like 2 of those is all you're gonna get, and he'll just pick you up and yeet you across the room. So it ain't happening. So he is done. And that's the end of the game. If you're a baby, dream come true. And then they kiss. Yeah, true story. And then, alright. Oh shit. The Emperor or something. I don't know. Uh-oh, we go back in the castle, but what's inside? Holy shit! It's damned Hellstrike 2 with a cloak. Look at that shit. So this is simultaneously easier and harder. See that shit? This is why I said this game is not playing around. It's still Golden Axe. It wants you dead. He does that at complete random as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think there's any way to legitimately CC clear this. I'm sure there's a way. But like to the average person, you're not getting a 1 CC clear on the good ending. That shit's just... I don't know how you wouldn't, because if you're playing good, you're probably going to get to this point, but I have no idea how the fuck you block that. And it's ridiculous. But it's actually... I don't know how to explain this, but this is actually really easy. Watch. If he does his jump attack, by the way, you can follow up. But see what I mean? Like, he just fucking hits you mid-animation, and you don't... Like I say, you do not have iframes in this game. If you get hit, you just eat damage in this series. So, there you go. Just do what I'm doing. I actually don't think this is bad. It's bullshit because it's just a credit dump, in my opinion, but whatever. Just do your jump kicks, you know, be patient, let him do his magic if you're really uncomfortable. But see what I mean? I'm right on his ass. My foot is in his dick hole, and I'm not doing damage to him. It's bullshit. It's not even fair. It's not playing around. Anyways, but I still think this is acceptable, other than the final fucking instant hit magic. I kind of like that he's a little bit easy because, let's be real, he's nowhere as bad as, like, the first game's final boss, which just annihilated the hell out of you. But I still think this shit's annoying. I still have no idea what causes that. It's not as much damage as the other games, I mean, that's for sure. Because in the first game, if you got hit by that, like, magic attack at a certain angle, it would just absolutely nuke you. It would usually do, like, 2 pips of your life. It was unbelievable, man. But yep. I think this is where I kill him, is right about here. So, and then Cub. I love how I can't even fucking, like, I was gonna throw my sword at him for swag, I think, probably, and I'm like, cool, and then that shit happened, and I just said, you know what? No, fuck it. We'll just do this the old-fashioned way. Just throw meteors at him and pretend we're cool, right? But, I really wish you fought that, like, Numidium in the background. That shit would have been so cool. But he's Dunyan Rings, and then he leaves behind the golden axe. But come on, dude, it's Golden Axe. We take it with us. Yeah, look at that. I can balance that on the back of my hand. Listen to this sound, by the way. Oh, that sound is so fucking Genesis. It's beautiful. It does what Nintendo don't. But yep, that's a very Castlevania EE ending. And I love this. You actually go back through the levels that you went through on your path. That's so fucking clever. I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, a background, but you know what I mean? Like, I like how the game keeps track of that. And you're probably like, what the fuck are those green things? Well, I'm pretty sure they're not going to let you just start swinging shit around kids. Even back in 93, they had standards, right? So, who the fuck was living in this cave? That's what I want to know. But, I really, really like this. It's not as good an ending as the first, like, Golden Axe at all. Nothing, in my opinion, is better than that one, because it's just an enemy roll call. It's just, you earn that kind of an ending, you know? But there we are with our big family. Oh, we're so cool. And that's it. So, this is a lot longer than the original Golden Axe, if it isn't obvious. But, I think it's a great game. I love the music. I love the enemy design. I love the character animations on your main characters. I love the feel, the control, the branching pathways for multiple playthroughs, different endings, the ending in general with that little, like, walk back through where you started. Like, the music in this game is fantastic. The incentivized reason to play good. Like, it's just awesome. Anyways, that's the Golden Axe trilogy on Genesis. I want to thank you guys for watching this. I'll link the channel in the pinned comment below, probably, who taught me a lot of how to play this game, like, efficiently, because he was the best video I found on how to actually read the score for this game, and go check his videos out. He's way better at the game than I am. So, I'll put these all in a playlist if you want to watch them to go to sleep. Don't forget to set an alarm. Thanks for watching. I'll see ya in the next one.